Travelling along the coast to the very far north, we navigate through a geopark, one of 35 located across Europe as endorsed by UNESCO. At Inchnadampf Caves, the fragments of long-extinct brown bears, Arctic fox and many hundreds of pairs of reindeer antlers dating back 8,000 years were found. We also passed the romantic ruins of Ardvreck Castle, standing on the shores of Loch Assynt. The Marquis of Montrose was imprisoned here in 1650 after Carbisdale. Built in 1984, the graceful, award-winning Carlskew Bridge replaces the ferry and a 100-mile round trip if you missed the last one, a fate that nearly befell a shooting party consisting of no less than the Duke of Westminster and Prince Charles, who had to bribe the ferryman. It's reported that he stated that he wouldn't take them, even if one was the richest man in the country and the other the heir to the throne. As it happens, they were both. Off the coast lies Handa Island, a wildlife reserve, with a warden who meets and greets visitors who take the short ferry crossing. This island has colonies of razorbills, guillemots and puffin. However, when the last visitor and warden leave, it's deserted. It was once a thriving community who had their own system of government, with a queen, who was the island's oldest widow, and a parliament consisting of a group of men who met each morning. The potato famine of 1846 led the entire population to emigrate to Canada. Cape Wrath is the most northwesterly point on the mainland, but can only be accessed by a bizarre combination of ferry and minibus, as the area is MOD property. Along the top of the country, we travel to the shores of Loch Eriboll, which was used by the Navy during the war years and was known by the sailors as Loch Orrible. The late Alan Clark's family own an estate here that he wrote about with warm affection in his famous diaries. A few miles on, and the ruin of an 11th century Norse stronghold, Varric Castle, overlook the village of Tongue. A causeway crosses the Kyle of Tongue. It was here a naval conflict in 1746 sealed the fate of the Jacobite rebellion, as a ship carrying French gold went aground. The crew left the ship only to be caught by a troop of the local Mackay clan, and they threw the gold into a nearby lochan before being overcome. Some say cattle sometimes leave the lochan in the summer after a cool wade through the mud with gold pieces stuck to their hooves. Rian Guest House is a former gamekeeper's cottage set in 20 acres. Shetland and Herdwick sheep are kept, as are a few hens, affording a ready supply of fresh free-range eggs, a great addition to your breakfast. 4 ensuite rooms are available, plus another with private facilities. Guests have full use of both the conservatory, a wonderful place for a spot of bird watching, and the guest lounge, which has a wood-burning stove for those cooler evenings. With views of Ben Loyal, this picturesque, cosy cottage enjoys a secluded setting, yet is less than a mile out of the village of Tongue. Betty Hill was named after Elizabeth, the Countess of Sutherland, who had inherited the vast Sutherland estates in her own right, then married the richest man in the country. They became the A-list couple of the age, but are these days best remembered for the shameful role played in the Highland clearances, when the crofters were forcibly removed and replaced with more profitable sheep. Betty Hill was a dumping ground for more than 1,000 evicted from Strathnaver, and with no safe harbour, it was never going to be a fishing port, as had been envisaged. Farkirk is now the Strathnaver Museum, which tells the story and also contains a remarkable 8th century carved stone in the churchyard. In front of the kirk is the cafe at Betty Hill. This is the local tourist information centre, as well as a gift shop and splendid little cafe restaurant. Good home baking, afternoon teas and fish and chips are always popular. Takeaways are also available. The cafe is adjacent to Far Bay, with its golden sands, rock pools and sand dunes, perfect for children. The raised beach on nearby Torresdale Bay is a great place to see the acrobatic Arctic tern, who nest amid the clumps of Scottish primroses. Otters may also be seen. The former manse, built in 1883, is now the Far Bay Inn and was converted 100 years later. A family-owned and run business, it offers local produce, all home-cooked, a comfy bar with log-burning stove and regular live music sessions, and accommodation is also on offer in 4 ensuite rooms. We follow the road to Thurso and onwards to the Castle of May, the most northerly castle on the mainland. In 1952, the castle was purchased by the late Queen Mother, who lovingly restored it and returned every summer for the rest of her life. The castle, gardens and a new visitor centre are open to the public.